Hello! I am freezing, I will not lie. Anyways, as you could see from the title, I'm going to be reading. Woo! I haven't done that in ages. Well, a reading stream in ages. Reading in general, I try to read as best as I can. Is my reading skills that great? Not really. Am I trying? Sometimes. So, what book are we going to be reading? It's my own book. The title is still, I call it for now. I'm gonna call it for now. Hello Emotions. That might change in the future, it might not, who knows? It all depends on how I feel when the time comes. I'm not gonna drag on this intro for too long because I just want to get to the book. So we're gonna try to catch any mistakes, we're gonna try to fix my grammar for starters, and anything like that. So yeah. And I'm also gonna show, not really that much, but like, I only have like a very few images, but images of some of the scenes, but I didn't go into too much detail with the drawings because I was lazy. Anyways. Wrong one! Spoilers, oh my gosh. This is the first one. And now I'm going to begin. I'm not a voice actor, by the way, so every time there's gonna be like dialogue, I am so sorry if it sounds cringe. Now let's begin. Okay. Pain, something that should bring fear or discomfort, yet I find this feeling similar to gentle pinches. I feel it right now, on my neck and on my side, but for some reason, my body feels cold too. I will prevent this death. However, from this point forward, any fatal injuries won't be fixed. Don't let your sister sneak up on you, and don't die so easily again or you'll lose my favor. A deep and ominous voice whispered. I slowly opened my eyes and found myself lying on the ground surrounded by trees, with a beautiful night sky greeting me through the leaves. As for the pain, the gentle pinches started to fade away, and my body suddenly started to feel warmer. I touched my waist and quickly realized an arrow was plunged into my side. I even noticed the blood covering my neck. I pulled out the arrow. And the brief stinging feeling changed from a pinch to numbness. I don't think it's normal to feel this when in pain. Shouldn't I be in agony? It was deep in my body. Actually, the questions that I should be prioritizing is, who was that voice, and why am I outside lying on the ground in my own blood? Wait, who even am I? I don't remember my name or my past. I can recall all I can recall is that pain seems to never bother me. I remember I returned my attention back to the arrow, focusing on the dark-colored blood dripping off of it. Eventually I took a deep breath and shut my eyes in order to focus solely on remembering my past. Sadly, nothing came to me. No matter how long reading. I need to get into that mindset, but I'm trying. Okay, sorry. No matter how long I waited or how hard I tried, nothing. After opening my eyes, I slowly, pricked my finger on the arrow tip out of frustration, and suddenly the name Melina came into mind. I wonder if this is my name. Even if it isn't, I still need a name to go by. I'll use it for now, for the time being. I picked myself up and began walking, immediately noticing multiple bodies around the area. It's like there was a massacre here. I guess I was the only one lucky enough to get a second chance, but I do wonder why so many people were slaughtered here. Based on the ominous voice, I assumed my sister is the culprit for what happened to me, but did she do this too? Doubt it. There's too many people for this to be the work of just a single person. Maybe a crazy cult? Potentially. I looked back down to my wound, and miraculously it was closing despite it not being long since I removed the arrow. Do I have fast healing capabilities? No, this must be the ominous voice doing. Ooh. I'm sure, unless I'm not human? Suddenly a yelp interrupted my thoughts and caused me to freeze in place. It's close. Cautiously I stepped forward and hid behind a tree to observe this scene in front of me. A pale man was crawling on the ground, while grabbing onto his injured shoulder. His attacker was standing in front of him, wielding a blade. The attacker was hidden within their cloak. Wait, I always read that line weirdly. The attacker was hidden within their cloak's hood, but even without it, I doubt I could recognize them. The man on the ground groaned while glaring at the other. His black messy hair was stained with blood, and his dark eyes, full of disdain, was glaring at his attacker as if he wished for nothing more but their death. Surprisingly, despite appearing so angry, this man is extremely beautiful. He's oddly alluring, and I can't take my eyes off of him. The attacker stepped closer while raising their blade. I don't understand why, but something inside me provoked me to stop the attacker, so instead of watching or ignoring, I jumped out and pounced at the attacker with the arrow I had. I managed to stab their throat and broke the arrow in the broke the arrow in the process. So I grabbed the blade out of their hand in order to stab them in the chest. Brutal. I sat on top of them and kept stabbing and stabbing until they stopped moving. I can't explain why, but this violent feeling brings me joy? At least I think so. It's different from the empty feeling I was accustomed to moments ago. Once the job was done, I breathed out heavily and wiped my forehead before standing up and dropping the blade. Now I feel like I'm about to puke. I turned my attention to the man I saved, and he didn't seem scared, but oddly fascinated. He had half a smile and a raised eyebrow as he looked down at the body before looking up at me. We locked eyes for a few seconds before I looked away in order to leave. I stepped over the body, ready to go, until my hand was grabbed. I was forcefully pulled to the ground, and the blade I used on the attacker was now being used against me by the man I saved. He held the blade close to my neck, yet fear was the last thing I felt in the situation. He sat on top of me and pinned my hands above my head while keeping a tight grip on the blade against my neck with his other hand. "Just because you saved me doesn't mean I'm going to let you go," he said, leaning down to closely look at my face. "I need answers." "Beautiful eyes," I spoke. It's like I'm staring into the void. I like it." He flinched, not expecting that reaction. I used this moment of weakness to push him off and crawl away. He groaned as he tried to recover while I patted the dirt off my clothes when I stood up. Once he realized I wasn't going to attack him, he seemed to have calmed down. "What a strange way to distract someone," he mumbled. I offered him my hand, and after hesitating, he took it. "What's going on here?" I asked, pulling him up. "You don't know?" he asked. I shook my head, which made him sigh. "A cult or something. I remember getting kidnapped, and I assumed the reason was for this," he said, pulling down the collar of his shirt while raising his head to expose his neck. There was a black line that was wrapped around his neck like a ring, but it wasn't connected in the middle of his throat. I slowly raised my hand to touch it with my fingertips, but he grabbed my wrist to stop me. "Only those who pay can touch me," he hissed. I nodded and took my hand back. When I looked at my waist, I noticed the same marking. My wrists. Words. Ooh. When I looked at my wrists, I noticed the same markings, but they spread higher. There was even on my waist and legs. He seemed to only have the mark on his neck. Why do I have so many? From what I managed to overhear, we were either going to be used as sacrifices or to be converted, whatever that means. Luckily, someone managed to knock out a guard and steal their key, but of course it's not that easy. We obviously got attacked while escaping. They seemed to be either killing us or making it impossible to run so we could get captured again. "I recommend that we run far away from here before we get found," he suggested. I nodded my head and we proceeded to run in a random direction. He struggled more than me, and I considered leaving him behind by running ahead, but I didn't want to leave his side, so I purposely slowed down and matched his pace. Once the sight of blood was gone and no corpses were spotted, we slowed down but didn't stop moving. We were silent during this journey. Oddly enough, I quickly realized I'm not the biggest fan of speaking based on how strange it feels to use my voice earlier. As for the silence, I don't mind it. However, it seems to bother him because he appears noticeably awkward. He's focusing on what's in front of him, but his eyebrows are furrowed and he has a frown that sometimes opens as if he wants to speak but doesn't. Now that I'm looking at him more closely, I noticed how empty his eyes appear. There's no light in them. Just with one glance, I can tell he had a rough life. If you have something to say it. It's rude to stare," he said. "Melina," I muttered. He raised an eyebrow. "Lost my memories? That's all I recall." "Memory loss? What fun! I should say it's a pleasure, Melina, but with the circumstances we're in, it's not ideal," he said, slouching as he glared at his injured shoulder. "I'm Raven." He seemed a bit hesitant before sharing his name, but because I shared my name, I assumed he thought it was only fair to share his. I nodded and lowered my attention to my waist. All that's left is a scar, or at least a faded mark where the wound was once at. This isn't normal, at least for a normal human. What am I? We arrived at a stream and decided to rest by the water. I watched as Raven removed his shirt to clean his shoulder wound. With his back to me, I can see the scars on his skin. Nothing recent, old scars. It looks like someone slashed him with a whip, but there was two larger scars different from the rest. Like something was once on his back. Like something that once was on his back was cut off. Ooh, reading. I ripped off the bottom of my shirt and approached Raven. When he noticed me approaching, he was cautious until I pointed my head towards his wound while raising the cloth. For me? He asked. Sit, I muttered. He did as I told, and I wrapped his shoulder with the cloth. Once it was tight and neat, I stepped away and found a spot on the ground to flop down on. A hard dirt ground isn't comfortable, but I don't exactly have a sleeping bag. I closed my eyes, ready to sleep, but reopened them when I heard noises beside me. Raven was lying next to me and smiling. You're peculiar. We escaped a murderous cult and you killed a man, yet you are acting so calm. You're completely unfazed about everything. Are you even human? He asked. I rolled to my other side and closed my eyes. I guess you wouldn't know due to your lack of memories, but it's still strange. I just don't care, I muttered. He's right about me likely forgetting what I am, but honestly, I don't even care if it but I don't even know if it matters. I'm gonna read that way over again, ooh. He's right about me likely forgetting what I am, but honestly, I don't even know if it matters. Okay. Yes, I can see that. If I had to make a comparison, you're a lot like an empty husk. With your blank expression and stiff movements, it's almost like you're a puppet. It's not a question. He said. I sat up and looked at him while tilting my head to the side. Usually, I can read people's intentions easily, yet with you, I see nothing. We locked eyes as he spoke. His empty eyes focused on my emotionless ones. Do you even desire anything? I took a moment to process his words. What do I desire? My memories? It would be convenient to have them back, but I don't see it being necessary. I can probably go through the rest of my life without them. A desire to survive? But who doesn't want to survive? Dying isn't exactly something most people find desirable. A meaning to my existence? I guess the thought does interest me a bit. I can become a hero of the people or the monster that hides in the shadows. As I continued to ponder, I kept my eyes focused on him. Suddenly, visions of me strangling him with my own hands infested my mind, and an unexpected pain took over my body. I gasped as I fell back. I squirmed on the ground while grabbing onto my head and gritted my teeth. This startled Raven to my side, and he grabbed onto my shoulders to keep me still. My vision started to blur, and my hearing was muffled. What is this pain? It's nothing I've ever experienced before. It scares me, but for some reason, I know this feeling of fear isn't normal. Deep down, I know I shouldn't feel this way when afflicted with pain. This is something completely different. Melina, what's wrong? Raven called out. How cute, worrying over me, a stranger. If only he knew the danger he was in. I grabbed onto his wrists and rolled him onto his back in order to pin him down. I breathed out heavily, my nails piercing his skin. I want to hurt him. I want to kill him. I can feel the hair on the back of my neck raising, and it's almost like my blood is boiling. What is this bloodlust? Why do I want to see him bleed? Cry out in pain. Suffer. Melina? He whispered in a gentle tone. I froze as my eyes widened. My vision is slightly clearer, and my hearing isn't as muffled. Hold up. Okay. Isn't as muffled. For some odd reason, he doesn't seem scared, and he didn't bother fighting back. Something is wrong. You're not in control of yourself, are you? He asked. My body cooled, but still didn't feel right. I jumped back and crawled away from him until my back hit a tree. I grabbed onto my shoulders, gripping tightly to avoid grabbing him again. I don't understand. I muttered with a shaky voice as I then grabbed onto my hair. Violence. Mind clouded with violence. Calm down, he approached me to take my hands. What happened? What's happening? What are you feeling? Relief with violence? Relief with death. I'm dangerous. Stay away. I stuttered, pulling my hands away from his hold. You really are strange, he sighed while removing his shirt. He asked me to turn around, and when I did, he tied my arms together. This way you won't kill me in my sleep. Let's figure this out in the morning, so try to get some rest. Maybe you'll feel better in the morning. He gently lowered me to the ground, and I sat beside me. I'm guessing he won't sleep until I do first. I took a deep breath before shutting my eyes, forcing myself to sleep. It didn't come easy, but eventually I fell into my dream world. Within my dreams, I was surrounded by darkness, yet I managed to catch a glimpse of a man and a woman off in the distance. Something about them is so familiar, like I should know them. The darkness hid their faces, which made it harder for me to figure out who they are, and as I stepped forward, a wave of darkness pushed me back. Kill, a deep and ominous voice whispered in my ears. Suddenly, it feels like I'm falling, and something about that voice makes me feel a slight loss of control over my body. Like I should listen to it, obey. If I don't, I'll be punished, or worse. When I woke up, I gasped as I struggled to sit up. My arms are still bound. I tried to control my breathing, and eventually I got to a normal pace. I lied on my back despite my tied arms and looked up towards the bright sky. Sweat was running down my forehead, and my skin felt warm due to the sun. It's oddly uncomfortable. Even my eyes are straining due to all the light. Am I more used to the dark? Possibly. At least my body feels more in control, but I can't say I'm relieved. Who exactly were those two? Who was that voice? They only said one word, but it sounded just like the voice I heard before waking up. Maybe it's someone from my past? Now I'm starting to feel how inconvenient it is to not have my memories. Water break! Alright. All I can assume is that my life wasn't ordinary or boring. Based on what that voice told me, I'm assuming my sister is likely the reason why I woke up with blood covering my neck and an arrow in my side. Did she slit my throat? Honestly, I should be dead with a fatal wound like that, yet I'm alive, and the cut isn't even there anymore. I guess I should thank that ominous voice who claimed to have saved me, but I don't understand how they healed my injuries. How they brought me back to life. No, that doesn't sound right. Back to consciousness? Stable. Whatever I am, I don't exactly feel alive despite my heart beating and noticeable breathing. Morning, Sleeping Beauty. How are you feeling? Raven asked, stepping out from behind a tree. Better, I answered. He helped me up and removed my bounds. I stared at my wrists before looking at him. Sorry, I whispered. He rolled his eyes while crossing his arms. Oh, don't start acting pathetic. I honestly wouldn't have cared if you killed me. You would have done me a favor, he said, chuckling slightly. Then again, now that I have this newly found freedom and a thirst for revenge, I guess I should be more considerate of my life, he said, rubbing his chin as if he was pondering something. What do you mean? I asked. Let's just say before all this, I served a mistress who I couldn't say no to. But I don't hear her calls, and I have the desire, But I don't hear her calls or have the desire to return to her. This is the most free I've felt in ages. It's refreshing, Raven said, putting his hands on his hips as he raised his head to the sky, smiling joyfully. I nodded in response as I dusted off the dirt from my clothes. I looked back at Raven for a second before turning away to leave. Where are you going? He called. Away. Safer for you, I answered. If I could easily lose control of my body, I'll end up attacking him again. Until I can figure out what's wrong with me, I shouldn't travel with anyone. I don't exactly know what type of person he is, but I don't want to hurt him. But at the same time, I want to kill him? It's such a complicated feeling. Fighting back and forth with this urge in my mind, it's exhausting. Sadly, before I could take any more steps forward, he blocked my path. No. I'm not just going to let you go, he said. I stared at him blankly while crossing my arms and raising an eyebrow. Ignoring the murder attempts, you did save my life earlier. It will only be fair that I help you in return. You'll die with me, I spoke bluntly. I'll take that chance. Besides, I'm invested now. I've met humans, elves, beasts, and all sorts of creatures, yet something about you is different, unusual. You look like a human woman, but you have sharp teeth and nails. As for your eyes and hair, they're far from a natural colors humans can obtain. But that's not the only reason why I believe you're different, he said. I stared at my hands, not realizing my nails were indeed sharp, and also very long. I could claw someone's eyes out if I wanted to. I returned to the river to stare at my reflection in the water. I couldn't remember what I looked like. My facial features were soft, excluding my sharp eyes, which the color were a mixture of pale gray with a hint of red. My hair is short and choppy, along with it being the same being the color white with red highlights. Reading, I swear. My skin is sickly pale with black markings. Yeah, with black markings wrapped around all over my body. From a distance, you would probably have mistaken the marks on my wrists as multiple bracelets. I opened my mouth and touched my fangs. I could rip someone's throat out with these with these, period. I stood in the same spot for a few more seconds, slowly raising my hand to touch my cheek. The more I gaze at my face, the more it feels as if I'm staring at an object rather than a living creature. See what I mean? There's something off about you, uncanny even. You have all the features of a living creature, and yet you seem hollow. Then what am I? Then what could I be? I asked. I can't answer that. You need to figure that out yourself. So until you gain your memories back, I'll tag along and assist you on your journey, he said. Don't you have anything better to do? I muttered. I don't have a life to return to. Actually, I do, but I don't want to return to it. I can start anew, and what better than tagging along with someone as fascinating as you, he said, winking. I looked away to stare back at my reflection. I can feel my body jerk, my fingers twitch. I might be calmer compared to last night, but these urges to attack are still there. Just smaller. He'll die with me. I can't allow him to stay. I opened my mouth, but choked on my words as he patted my back. Let's get moving. We should find a village. We need to figure out where we are. No, I tried to speak, but he took my arm and started dragging me. Let's follow the river. That should lead to civilization, he said confidently. I slouched as I gazed at his hand on my wrist. I'll just let him have his way. The moment I can slip away, I will. For now, I just need to bite my tongue. He's like a fragile flower. I can't accidentally step on him or he'll be ruined. To distract myself, I watched the flow of water. Hello! Reading time. To distract myself, I watched the flow of water from the river. For a brief moment, the clear water suddenly turned red like blood before returning back to normal. I shut my eyes and shook my head while raising my free hand to cover my face. This is insufferable. Why am I like this? Look at that. I knew we would find a village. I lowered my hand and he was correct. However, the village wasn't filled with people, and the buildings weren't in the top shape. It looked abandoned. We both shared a skeptical look before proceeding forward. Windows were broken and the walls on most buildings were crumbling. Raven found a bag and decided to carry it, and every once in a while, he peeked inside a barrel and found coins or abandoned potions. He noticed my confused expression and told me that we have nothing to our names, so looting was something we needed to do. So I let him continue. He found another bag, which he handed to me along with an extra blade he found. I tried to decline the blade out of fear of what I would do with it, but he put the blade in the pocket of my bag. Listen, if we get attacked, you'll need a weapon. He put his foot down while crossing his arms. I sighed and just nodded in response. Why did I save such a headstrong man? He continued looting and even handed me a few items to carry in my bag. It's surprising how many items were left in this village. Maybe the residents who once lived here left in a hurry? Here, go change, he said, handing me clothes that appeared like armor. Why? I asked. Your clothes are ripped and bloody. When we find people, they'll find us suspicious, he said. I guess he has a point. I began to strip and Raven's eyes widened for a moment before he smirked and raised an eyebrow. You don't care that I'm here watching? He asked. I don't, I said, picking up the armor. All right, he said, shrugging while changing as well. It's convenient how fitting the outfits are. We look like adventurers now, adventurers wielding weapons and wearing armor, so we're always prepared to fight when a monster attacks. I looked into a broken mirror and just stared. A warrior. I'm a warrior? Or at least I was. I remember being called one. Raven called for me, and he was ready to leave the building. I rushed to his side, and we continued walking. I looked at my gloved hands and clenched my fists. It's strange how many marks you have compared to me, Raven spoke up. I raised my head, and he was looking forward while touching his neck. Oh, my dogs. I am so sorry about that. Ooh, okay. Oh, and I don't have a Discord, by the way. Give me a moment. Sorry. Okay. My father answered the door, and my dogs don't like strangers, so they started barking. Do I plan to make one? I don't know. Probably. I feel like it would be convenient, but I don't see, like, the need to. But back to story. Alright. Where was I? I already lost my space, and my rolling chair is falling. Okay. Where was I? It's unusual how many... Okay. He spoke up. I raised my hand, and he was looking forward while touching his neck. I only had the one wrapped around my neck. Even the people I was imprisoned with had one. I wonder, why do you have so many? I don't know. I don't know. I know, he said as I awkwardly looked down to the ground. One day this mark appeared on my skin, and at night when returning to the mansion, cloaked men stopped me. When they noticed the marks, they put a bag over my head and kidnapped me, he explained. So, you were targeted? I asked. I was held in a prison for maybe a month, but every new person who arrived did have a mark like me. Maybe they were targeted too. Maybe we were targeted. He said while I don't even have my headphones on. Whatever. He said while rubbing his neck. I didn't see a single person without a mark in the cells. But what I find surprising is that even some of the guards had a mark, but weren't imprisoned. That is strange. Randomly having a mark appear on your skin and getting kidnapped by others who share the same mark? Did the same happen to me? But why do I have so many? And why are those who are marked? Oh, this is one of my stories that I wrote like a while back and like not too long ago, and I'm like, hey, I should read it, you know? Yeah, I read like a decent amount in the beginning, so yeah. But like so far, it's mostly, you know, confusion because the main character has memory loss. So yeah. So where was I again? and why are those who are marked getting imprisoned? Maybe we're dangerous? If that's the case, because if that's the case, because I have so many, I could be a massive threat. I already lost where I'm at. Oh, maybe we're dangerous. If that's the case, because I have so many, I would be a massive threat. When I slipped away, I should just find a cave where no one would find, or where, if I'm dangerous, I need to disappear. However, there's something within my chest telling me to keep moving forward, to see the end of my journey, wherever it takes me. I'm craving to continue living and to kill, to dominate this world. Yes, this is something I seem to desire. At least that's how I feel. The thought excited me despite not being able to show it openly. But there's more to this craving. There's something else I desperately want. What is it? Suddenly a snapping hand appeared in front of my face, which caused me to halt in place. It was Raven. He looked at me with a confused expression. I was in my head for so long that I unintentionally blocked out my surroundings. Did he notice something? I looked around and we were still alone. Maybe he said something and I failed to hear it? I gazed at him, waiting for him to repeat, and he laughed in response. At first I assumed you were just a serious woman, but now I see that you just get lost easily. He teasingly poked my forehead as he spoke. I asked if you were hungry. Hungry? I muttered. Yes, hungry. Do you want something to eat, or so we can, have the energy to keep on with our journey? He explained. What is hungry?" I asked. He slowly opened his mouth and his eyes widened. You really aren't normal," he said, pinching the bridge of his nose. He grabbed a nearby bow and a bag of arrows before heading towards the woods. I followed and watched as he sneaked around while keeping his eyes out. "What are you looking for?" I asked. He shushed me as I shut my mouth. I knelt down and watched over his shoulders. We were slow with our movements, and I was about to question his actions until his eyes lit up. He raised the bow and aimed forward. When I looked, I noticed a deer off in the distance. Is he going to kill it? I remained quiet and watched as he released the arrow. It pierced the deer's neck, and it collapsed to the ground with a muffled shriek. My mouth twitched, smiling for a second before it returned to its default position. Can you go collect some wood?" he asked, pulling out his blade as he approached the deer. "Why?" I asked. For fire. Now go." He ordered, slightly annoyed. I did as told, and retrieved some wood. I tried to sneak further away, but whenever I got close to running, Raven called for me. He didn't want me to be out of his sight. Of course he wouldn't take his chances with me. I made it clear my desire to leave him, but he's far more stubborn than I. So I collected and broke off branches from trees, and once I finished, I waited for Raven, and he took off the meat from the deer. Reading, okay. This might sound strange, but following orders feels like second nature to me. I do desire to have control, but I'm obedient, cooperative. I must obey commands. But I know this obedience shouldn't be targeted towards him, but for someone else. I'm only listening to him because I lost who I'm meant to obey. Honestly, if I did manage to slip away from Raven, who's to say I would end up in the hands of another person bossing me around? Could I even function on my own? I should learn to be more disobedient. What consequences? What consequences? I cannot read my own okay. With consequences, what consequences would happen to me if I said no to Raven? Nothing. I can just walk away and ignore his calls for me. Well, I guess I might feel a little bit guilty. It's like abandoning a kitten. But having a wolf care for a kitten doesn't sound like a brilliant idea. Here should be fine. He patted the ground for me to set the wood down. I sat against a tree and watched as he lit a match. Thanks to the tools he collected at the village, cooking the meat was easy. However, he did complain about a lack of seasoning for a moment before exhaling and accepting the circumstances. I have no clue what he means or what he's doing, but it's oddly amusing to watch. By the end, he placed 2 pieces of cooked meat on separate silver plates he found and handed one to me. He sat beside me and cut his own into small pieces before putting it in his mouth. I watched him closely, questioning his actions before lowering my head towards my own. I don't think I've ever put something in my mouth before. I might have bitten down on things, but whatever he's doing, I'm not familiar with it. And I doubt this has anything to do with my lack of memories. Say aw, he said, raising a chunk of meat towards me. I don't understand, I muttered. He pointed at my mouth and I just mimicked his own actions from before. He placed the meat in my mouth and I just kept it in place. It was an interesting sensation that I don't understand, that I don't believe I experienced before. Chew, he said, he instructed while demonstrating the action. He continued to tell me what to do until I figured out how to consume the meat. Once I swallowed the piece, I blinked a few times while processing what I just did. So, interesting, I answered. I'm guessing you liked it. Just finish it up before it gets too cold, he told me as he returned to his own meal. I repeated the same actions as he taught me. Surprisingly, this wasn't an unpleasant experience. Instead, it was oddly enjoyable. Unfamiliar, but enjoyable. With each bite I took, I had this warm feeling in my chest. This is yet another unfamiliar feeling. Is it joy? Alright. She doesn't know how to eat because she never ate in her life. Okay. Sounds so bad. Okay. And yes, when I write stuff, I always put things in parts. Don't judge me. Okay. Raven walked close to my side, but only slightly ahead due to him leading us. We don't have a destination, but he's hoping for an actual village full of people. I don't have any goals apart from considering getting away, but that's not possible at the moment. He's gently bumping his shoulder against mine while looking into my eyes. Look at that, Raven said. Wait, I read that so weirdly, but I read everything so weirdly. Okay. He gently bumped his shoulder against mine while looking into my eyes. I kind of said that. Okay. Look at that, Raven said, pulling me behind a tree and pointing ahead of us. A few feet away, there was a carriage surrounded by 3 masked men. The coachman was bleeding out on the ground, and one of the masked men forced the carriage door open. He pulled out a young lady who was screaming and fighting him. When they're gone, let's take one of the horses. But the girl? I said, slowly raising my hand to point at her. He raised an eyebrow while putting a hand on his hip. What about her? She's not our problem, Raven said. We can't leave her, I said. You're free to rescue her, but I'm not helping, he said, crossing his arms. I nodded in response and stepped away. Wait! He tried reaching for my hand, but I slipped away and ran towards the men and girl. They didn't hear me approaching, so I pulled out my blade while dropping my bag, and once I was behind one of them, I stabbed his skull. Brutal. They were surprised by my presence, making it easy for me to pull out the blade and attack another one of the men. The girl managed to slip away from her captor's hold and run away as I charged at the last man. He raised his crossbow, about to shoot me, but an arrow coming from behind me hit his shoulder. He dropped his, any videos planned, honestly, at this moment? Not really. I really should. I'll figure that out maybe tomorrow. Okay. Where was I? I keep losing my space because I get distracted easily. The girl managed to slip away from her captor's hold and run away as I charged at the last man. He raised his crossbow, about to shoot me, but an arrow coming from behind me hit his shoulder. He dropped his crossbow as I looked back. Raven was responsible for the attack. I used this opportunity to stab the man, and when I was positive he was dead, I stood up while sweeping my blade to get some of the blood off. Appreciate it, I told Raven as he rushed to my side. Don't, he groaned with a glare. I turned my head back to the direction of the girl, and she was peeking from the side of the carriage. Are you good people? She asked. Depends who's asking, Raven said, pulling out a cloth to wipe the blood off my cheek. Are you with those men? She asked. Raven and I stared at her blankly, and she seemed embarrassed after realizing the situation. Never mind, you killed them, so that wouldn't make sense, she said, stepping back out and awkwardly rubbing her arm with a bruise. I looked at her closely and noticed her ears are pointy, and she seemed to be around the age 14. She has a beautiful headpiece and a small, puffy, white dress that makes her look like a fairy. Her straight hair was long and black, along with her eyes, while her eyes were lilac. Her skin was fair, apart from the black mark on her neck. Look, I said, pointing at her neck. Oh, she's like us, Raven said. She seemed confused until she realized we all shared the same mark. You're also Stains? She gasped. Water. Alright. You're also Stains? She gasped. Stains? Raven asked. Yes, those with these marks are deemed stains. Don't you know? She asked. We shook our heads and she stepped closer. Recently, many people started developing these marks randomly. Those who have them get abilities which make them stronger, but the cost for their power is the potential of death. Is the possibility of death. Excuse me? Raven yelled. When the mark's power is overused, you'll die from it. With one mark, you're powerful compared to most. However, you can force your body to create more marks to make you stronger. But when you go over 5 marks, you'll exhale black smoke and black veins will spread throughout your body until you collapse to the ground and die. She explained. Raven looked at me, startled. We're thinking the same thing. Oh, recommendations! I'm always up for recommendations. Leave it in the comment section, leave it anywhere. I'm fine with any recommendations thrown my way. I'm always excited to find something new. Okay, we're thinking the same thing. That can't be right, I said. She seemed confused by my response until I began to strip off my armor. She looked away embarrassed for a moment before she realized why I did this. She nervously laughed as her eyes darted on each mark on my skin. Eventually, her smile dropped and she looked terrified. "Get away from me!" she yelled while pushing herself into her carriage. "Whoa, what's wrong?" Raven asked, standing between us. "The only way to go over the limit is if you have additional existing marks that don't fade after rest. The only way to get a new permanent mark is, I can't read it in this voice, okay. The only way to get a new permanent mark to appear on your skin is if you kill a certain number of people. Unlike those with 1 mark, people who have 2 marks can have a max of 6 marks before risking death, and those who have 3 permanent marks can have 7, and so on," she explained. She's breathing heavily as she continued looking at me with wide eyes. I stepped back and she only slightly calmed down. Temporary marks are risky, which is why most stains try to obtain new permanent marks, because it takes away the risk. The most I've seen on anyone was 2 extra marks, and they murdered a lot of people from weaker villages. But you, how many people did you slaughter to end up like that?" she yelled, freaking out. Oh, what was it? I might check it out. You know, I'll see it. I'll check it out. I'll make sure. Like, at the end of the stream, I'll check it out. I already lost my spot again. "But you, how many people did you slaughter to end up like that?" She yelled, freaking out once again. I froze while slowly lowering my head to gaze at my body. A village. Wait. A lot of people in a village? A village? A village? I feel like I need to describe that a little better. And whatever. A couple of village worth of people and only 2 marks? Yet who was I before losing my memories? My body is littered with these marks. Calm down, Raven said. Hold up. Ooh. "Calm down," Raven said, grabbing my shaking hands. What's your name, girl?" he asked, turning his head to look at the stranger. "Irene?" she whimpered. "Hello, Irene. I'm sure there's a misunderstanding here. Are you positive that the only way someone can, that's the only way someone can, get more marks?" he asked. I believe a stain who murders another stain that has a high body count can also influence the development of marks. Like, their number of kills will add on to their killer's count of kills." Man, reading that is awful, but it's fine. Okay, she said. A lot of lore. Okay, she said. Raven smiled while grabbing onto my shoulders and gently shaking me. "That explains it. My friend here killed other bastards during our journey, so I'm assuming that's why she has so many. She was just defending us. She's not a rampaging killer if that's what you're assuming," he explained, pulling me behind him to block her view from seeing my confused expression. He briefly turned to me and raised a finger to shush me before returning his attention to Irene. Why is he lying for me? "If she was really a bad person, why would she keep someone like me around?" he continued with a friendly chuckle. "How many do you have?" she asked. "Only the one on my neck, see?" he said while rolling up his sleeves and raising his shirt. She relaxed and seemed convinced by his lie. "Strange, I know. She's the fighter of our team, so she handles the killing of bad guys while I provide backup." I said as he, "I see. And is she okay?" she asked. Oh, creepypastas. I'm always excited for creepypastas. "I see. And is she okay?" she asked. I remained quiet, unsure how to respond. "What do you mean?" Raven asked. From what I witnessed, those who developed these marks can go through changes apart from power. A friend of mine who is a knight defended a village from a goblin attack, and at the end of the battle, she developed a new mark. Despite being a knight, she was quiet and timid, but now she's loud and has this reckless confidence, as if she can defeat all her enemies with a sadistic smile. "Has she changed?" she asked, pointing at me. "Actually, I'm glad you mentioned it. Her calm personality luckily hasn't changed. However, recently she started developing violent outbursts. I help her calm down each time, like the good friend that I am, but it's almost like something is taking over her body and forcing her to act violent. We were hoping to find, something that could help her stay in control, a spell or a potion, he explained, grabbing me to pull me into an embrace while stroking my hair. But that's not all. There's another side effect. She's losing her memories. You know how hard it is to what? You know how hard it is. Ooh, saying that is weird for me. To watch your friend forget your time together. At least she still remembers my name, he said, pretending to be sad. I'm guessing he's setting up a lie now. Yeah, I'm guessing he's setting up a lie now, so he doesn't question my actions later. I'll play along, despite being young. Despite being young, she seems to have a lot of knowledge, so we should stay on her good side rather than scaring her off. Memory loss? I'm so sorry, Irene gasped while stepping forward. What a horrible side effect. I still know my name at least, I muttered. She also remembers how to fight and that we're a team, so we haven't lost her completely just yet, he said, winking at me. Sorry for judging you so soon. You two must have went through a lot. Maybe I can help. I've been doing research on stains ever since a mark randomly appeared on my skin, so I must, wait, what? I'm reading that over again, hold up. I've been doing research on stains ever since a mark randomly appeared on my skin, but I must admit, my knowledge is still lacking. However, my teacher has been non-stop researching and traveling to learn as much as he can about stains. If anyone can help, it's him, Irene said. Perfect, let's go find him, Raven said, pleased. Here's the problem. My teacher's in Sulite? Irene said. Raven and I stared at her, unaware of the problem until she clarified. We're in Aridos. What? Raven shut his mouth with his hand, trying to calm himself as I continued feeling lost. Sulite? Aridos? I'm unfamiliar with these places. Sorry, I lost my map ages ago, so I didn't realize we were at Aridos. I guess we should start moving then, Raven said, forcing a smile that he was surprisingly good at faking. Yes, let me grab my essentials first, Irene said, picking up paper, books, and bottles. Raven stepped to the side and away from the carriage while muttering under his breath. I was in Sulite, kidnapped, then ended up in Aridos? Why did I have to be taken so far from home? This journey is going to be such a pain, he whispered. How far is Sulite from here? I asked. It's going to take us a few nights. How are the horses? He asked. I turned to the front of the carriage and the horses were gone. My coachman conjured the horses. Now that he's passed, they vanished, Irene explained, stepping out of the carriage while struggling to hold her belongings. Of course they were magic. Fine, on foot it is, Raven groaned. I still have a bit of a stuffy nose. I am sorry. I kept my distance from the two as Raven assisted Irene while packing her belongings into an actual bag she could carry. However, she was struggling with deciding what to prioritize for her journey. She has many journals and papers. Maybe her research? It would be a shame to leave behind all this knowledge. I can help carry a few things, I offered. Irene was happy and pulled out more journals from the carriage. Eventually we were ready and began walking. Irene led us because she has the map and compass. Raven finally told her our names and started asking her questions to get to know her better. I remained quiet and walked behind the two. She would be such a cute corpse if I killed her right now. No! I grabbed into my head, trying to force myself to remain calm. But I keep seeing glimpses of them dying by my own hands. She's kind. She's young. I will not cut her life short. I will not give in to this sick desire. I feel like I'm about to puke. I couldn't walk straight and ended up swaying to the side until I hit a tree. My nails dug into the wood, and with my other hand I gripped onto my chest. If it weren't for the armor, my nails would have pierced my skin too. I tried to control my breathing, but that was another battle I couldn't win. My vision is blurring and my hearing is muffled. I think I hear them calling my name, but I'm not sure. I can feel the sweat running down my forehead and drool dripping down my chin. I must resist. I don't remember who I was before, but... Wow, my dogs. I don't remember who I was before, but if I was a sick murderer, I refused to be that person again. Melina, Raven called. He raised my head with his hands, and was kneeling with me on the ground. Both my vision and hearing, my dogs, both my vision and hearing improved. However, I have a ringing in my ears, and one eye struggled to open. Breathing still wasn't easy. Wasn't easy either, but tolerable. My dogs. Okay, sorry about that. They just bark at everything. Okay. When I turned my head, I noticed Irene had her hands reaching out towards me, and her eyes were closed as she chanted a spell. Her hands were sparkling and glowing. It was warm, comforting. Many of the aches in my body calmed, but sadly not the aches that wanted me to kill. Water. I spilled water on myself. I am... Okay. Tie me, I begged. Raven nodded and took my arms. He tied them behind my back, just like before, and let me rest against a tree. I looked up towards the sky, wishing something would smite me so I wouldn't continue to experience this feeling. Is this what you mean by violent outburst? Irene asked. She continued to point her glowing hands towards me. Yes, she actually attacked me before, so we're lucky she managed to hold back this time, Irene said. Poor thing. It looks torturous. I'm a famous healer, and yet not even this seems to be helping her, Irene said. Famous? Raven asked. I come from a family of high elves, and I studied all things healing and illnesses. I've cured villages plagued with sickness and healed even the most fatal of wounds, but whatever is harming her, it's something I never had experience with, she explained. Wait, I've heard of you. I didn't realize the great healer Irene Sell was here. And you're so young, Raven said. In my family, you must prove yourself worthy of the name. Before gaining my title as a healer, my family didn't acknowledge me, she whispered. Harsh, Raven said. Family? Worthy, I muttered, which surprised the two. They didn't expect me to speak at this moment, and honestly, I don't understand why I said those words. They just stuck with me as I listened to their conversation, almost like I can relate to her situation. I slowly shut my eyes and let myself slip away. It was dark for only a few minutes until I heard giggling and saw a young girl suddenly appearing out of thin air. She was the only thing that was illuminated within our dark surroundings. Her red hair touched the ground and swayed wildly as she ran and spun, which made me worry that she would trip if she wasn't careful. At a glance, she seemed like an innocent and ordinary girl. However, her expressions looked almost insane. Her wide eyes matched her hair, and her smile revealed extremely sharp teeth. As for her giggle, it was more unsettling rather than cute. The master won't be happy. A young boy's voice interrupted her giggling. He suddenly approached and was illuminated just like her. He seemed barely older than her, and his actions was noticeably far more mature compared to her childish attitude. His hair and eyes were white, while his skin was tan, and once he approached the girl, he pinched her cheek. It's not going to kill you to break the rules a bit, the girl whined as she tried to remove his hand. We're forbidden to leave the dungeon, let alone be together for this long, the boy argued. Brother's right, another young girl spoke. She approached, and once I processed who I was looking at, I realized it was me. I looked so young, innocent, and not a single mark in sight. Is this a memory? You always take his side. For once take my for once side with me. Oh, for once side with me, sis, the girl whined while stomping her feet. She convinced me to come here, didn't she? The boy defended me. Yes, but that's because you wouldn't have blindly followed me. So I asked her to do the dirty work. I swear my dogs are... Bleh. Hold up. Sorry about that. My dogs. They're all over the place. Now I lost my spot. Wow, and hopefully I can read. Okay. Nope, my dogs are still whining. Okay. Yeah. Yes, but that's because you wouldn't have blindly... Hold up. I don't know what's up with those dogs, okay? I'm trying. Yep, the dog barking ASMRs. They will always interrupt me. I love them, but they really hate strangers, and I don't know why. Okay. Yes, but that's because you wouldn't have blindly followed me so I asked her to do the dirty work. The girl snapped back. Stop taking advantage of her. She's easily manipulated, the boy said. I know, but didn't the master tell us to shape her mind? Being a bad influence is a good thing, the girl cheered. We're different sides of the same coin. Melina's meant to be our balance. Don't overstep or I'll have to fix your mess. Ooh, or I'll have to fix your mess, the boy said, patting my younger self's head. I would say you're the one overstepping. She's more like you compared to me, the girl argued while crossing her arms. The barking adds to the story. Funny. Okay. Wait. Yeah, she's more like you than me, the girl argued while crossing her arms. Incorrect. I've seen her train. She's barbaric and as messy as you, he said. Are we still doing this? My younger self asked. The other girl looked at her brother, and for a moment he sighed before nodding his head. They locked arms as the three walked off and vanished just as easily as they appeared. My siblings. They're my siblings. The girl who attempted to take my life, and the boy who I know nothing about. As for what they said, I'm their balance? What does that mean? And who's master? I wish this memory didn't return to me in a short fragment. It only just leaves me feeling lost. I hear a phone. I opened my eyes and it was noticeably still dark out. My head dropped to the side and I saw Irene lying beside me, her hand resting on my lap as it continued to glow. It was as warm and as comforting as before. How long has she been doing this? Even in sleep she wanted to help you. Cute, isn't it? Raven whispered. You're awake? I asked. I don't exactly need sleep. But I can still do it, but I just choose not to, Raven said. I nodded while raising my head, to look back at the night sky. I remembered something, I admitted, which seemed to have piqued Raven's interest. A brother and sister. I'm their balance? I also have a master, I spoke as he sat in front of me. My sister also attempted to kill me, I continued. I just realized I never brought this up before. Raven paused for a moment before smiling and lowering his head. You just keep getting more interesting, he chuckled while raising his knee to rest his arm on it. Did you get any insight on your condition? No S needed. No, I answered. How I got these marks or why I crave violence is still a mystery to me. My siblings, they might have answers? Ah, yes, if we somehow find them, I'm sure they would be happy to see you. It's not like they attempted to kill you, he said sarcastically. I frowned while lowering my head. He has a point. I don't know how my brother feels about me, and my sister is clearly out for blood. And how can I even recognize them? I only remember them from when they were younger. For all I know, they have changed a lot since that memory. Let's just stick with Irene. Her teacher is the safer and easier option. Yes, I agreed. We looked down to Irene, and the way the moonlight shined on her face made her look like an angel. For a moment, I had a desire to claw her face, but I pushed that thought away. If her teacher can't help, we should go our separate ways. No can do. I don't care if you could potentially kill me. I'm already committed to helping you, Raven said, crossing his arms. And like I said before, I don't have a life I can return to. You're all I got. You're all I got. My voice is dying. Okay. I'm not a good companion to have. You should stay with Irene instead, I offered. I'm gonna drink some more water. Alright. I don't want to I don't want to be a babysitter for a young half-elf girl, Raven said while rolling his eyes. And I'm starting to like you. You're littered in so many mysteries that I just want to unravel them with you. And if I just let you go, I'm going to be curious for the rest of my days. I'm not going to let anyone tell me what to do now that I have this freedom, so I'm going to stick by your side regardless of what you tell me. You're strange, I muttered. I know. I might have a thirst for vengeance, vengeance on those who wronged me, but I have a bigger curiosity that needs to be quenched, he said, smirking. I shut my eyes and leaned back on the tree. Fine. Next part, which is part 3, oh my gosh. Oh wait, I also forgot to. This? But then that was like the earlier I forgot to show it before, but now this. Woo! I'm lazy with my art, okay? I would try put more effort next time. Right now I'm just lazy. Okay. Try these, they're delicious, Irene said, raising a bag towards me. Inside the bag were circular treats with something red on top. She told me they're strawberry cookies and that they're her favorite snacks. Ooh, I read the S in snacks. Oh my gosh, I always forget S, or I add an S where there shouldn't be an S. Okay. I waved my hand and shook my head, refusing her offer until Raven took 2 and put 1 in my mouth. You won't know if you like it if you don't at least try it, he said, eating his own cookie. I raised my hand to keep the cookie from falling out of my mouth and began to chew. This is different from the meat I consumed yesterday. I don't know how to describe it, but I like it. It was satisfying and enjoyable. Do you like it? Irene asked, smiling brightly when she saw my eyes lit up. It's good, I admitted. She offered me more, and I timidly took another, but only one. I don't want to be greedy. Irene then proceeded to tell us her desire to learn how to bake and cook, but because of her studies, she found it difficult to find the time. She knows how to make basic dishes, but she wants to do more. She made these yesterday. These. She made these yesterday before getting attacked, and this is actually her attempt with baking and her first time getting someone's opinion on her food. Raven complimented the flavor and even gave her a tip about cooking based on his own experience. I didn't understand his explanation, but Irene did. She pulled out a notepad and started to write what he told her. Irene, do you usually travel alone, ignoring the coachman? No one else was with you. You'd think a great healer like yourself would at least have a bodyguard, Raven said. This might sound strange, but I prefer to travel without guards. It's dangerous, I know, but when a person is surrounded by guards, it's obvious that they're someone important. So I don't travel with them, and when I'm outside of my carriage, I wear a cloak to hide my appearance, she explained while raising the hood of her cloak to show how she hides. But you still should at least have one. Maybe a guard under cover that follows you in the shadows, Raven suggested. I do, or did. Remember the friend I mentioned? The one who changed? Bella acted as my personal guard before she started climbing the ranks. Once she had no time to guard me personally, I never got around to replacing her. Or I didn't want to replace her. But I really should find myself a guard, especially after all this, she answered, which made Raven nod in response. I grabbed both of my wrists, stopping them from, I grabbed both of their wrists, stopping them from walking any further. They looked at me confused and with a slight nervous expression. I wouldn't be surprised if they assumed I was having another episode, but no, this time my actions only have good intentions. I pulled them behind me and stepped forward. I reached for my blade and my eyes zipped around our surroundings. I listened closely, but when the other two tried to speak, I shushed them. Melina, what are you doing? Raven asked in a whisper. Wait a moment, I said. Irene moved closer to Raven and grabbed onto his sleeve. I stood still, waiting for the slightest change to catch my attention. I don't know how to explain what I'm feeling, but I can almost sense that something is near. Something that doesn't have good intentions. Could it be hiding within the trees? No, it feels as if their presence is in front of me. Suddenly, dirt on the ground moved, and I saw a transparent thing charging at me. I raised my arms to block the attack and felt a stinging on my arms. And something slashed me. My blood stained the ground, and both Irene and Raven flinched. Melina, Raven called. Run, I yelled. I want to make it dramatic, but I'm not a voice actor, okay? Run, I yelled. Raven picked up Irene and ran. I managed to spot the translucent thing attempting to follow after them and plunged my blade into them, forcing them to stop the pursuit. It returned its attention back to me and slashed again, but I managed to block it with my blade. However, I felt another stinging on my back, and when I turned my head, I realized there was another translucent attacker. I tried my best, juggling back and forth with blocking their attacks. But how exactly can you defend yourself? Against something you can hardly see? I can hear Irene calling out my name and see Raven holding her back. It's too dangerous for them to get close to the action, but Irene didn't let that stop her from helping. She raised her arms, and her hands started to glow. My injuries matched that same glow. I appreciated the act, but these slashes could be compared to a child punching me. It doesn't bother me. However, even if the pain is barely noticeable, that doesn't mean I'll be fine. If this continues, I'll lose a lot of blood and might pass out. I'm low on energy, Irene's trembled voice spoke as the glow from her hand slowly started to fade. It's your fault for having a constant flow of healing throughout the night, Raven said. I didn't want to see her suffer, or I didn't want her to suffer, Irene yelled. With each slash I received, my blood continued to stain the ground around me. If only I could see them clearly. If only I could land a hit. Suddenly, I could feel my blood go cold and my limbs go limp. I'm still conscious, and I was still unconscious and could control my actions again, but it feels almost like my body's acting on reflex. I'm purposely letting them cut me, despite how stupid that might seem. I'm trusting my instincts. Wait, despite how stupid it might seem, I'm trusting my words. Melina, Raven called while taking a step forward, but stopped before noticing something strange. My blood on the ground started to move and bubble, and the blood dripping down my body suddenly started to flow towards my right hand. Before anyone could speak another word, my blood on the floor turned to spikes, and they stretched forward and pierced my translucent attackers. As for the blood flowing towards my hand, it turned into a spiked whip. My body moved on its own from this point. I moved almost like an undead creature, but with fast speed, and finally put some distance between us. I turned my attention back to my attackers, who are now trapped in place. They're more clear now, but I can see their blood, which is now mixing with mine. I raised my whip and slashed. Now it's their blood staining the ground. Ahaha, she has blood control magic, or whatever the frick I'm trying to imply but suck at explaining. Eventually, my translucent attackers became opaque, and one was dead while the other was somehow still breathing. I walked towards the living man and grabbed his chin to force him to look at me. His eyes were filled with hatred. I don't recognize him. Of course I wouldn't, but why would they attack us? Could they be thieves? We don't exactly look like the type of people who carry valuables. Maybe Irene, but these people seem like they're out for blood. Why? I asked. You're all stains. He choked back his blood to answer. Irene and Raven ran over and seemed confused by his answer. You monsters should perish. What? Irene asked. The man coughed out blood, and the life in his eyes faded. Wait! Irene ran up to him and raised her hands to heal him until Raven stopped her. Trying to bring him back from the dead like this? How cruel, Raven said, pointing at the state of his corpse or his body. I just want answers, Irene said, stepping back while feeling slightly horrible after realizing that she was about to bring him back from the dead with his body still pierced with my blood. Suddenly, the two men dropped to the ground when my blood fell, returning to its liquid state. As for the blood whip, it climbed up my arm and returned to my body through my cuts, my slashes. You can manipulate your blood? Irene asked, changing her attention now to me. I looked back at my injuries. I couldn't figure out how to answer her. A power this brutal and frankly scary usually gets granted by dark entities or to their loyal worshippers. Do you worship a dark god? Irene asked, growing nervous. Even if she did, I doubt she remembers, Raven said, crossing his arms as he looked at the bodies. What I mean is that she never explained to me about this skill of hers, and now that she's losing her memories, I doubt she'll ever remember. During our journey together, I never once saw her worship a god or even pray to those. Wait, pray, so those days are behind her. She's a good girl, don't let this worry you. He continued. He's just as surprised as Irene, but can't show it because he already lied about us traveling together for a long time. He has to play it cool and craft a new lie for me. First the marks, then her violent outbursts, and now this. How am I not supposed to worry? Irene asked. I'm just as scared, I admitted, lowering my gaze. Irene turned to me, but I couldn't bring myself to look at her face. Did I worship a dark entity? Was I a cruel person before losing my memories? I clearly killed many based on all the marks I have on my skin, and this ability only makes me feel worse. What else should I expect? Could I turn into a monster because that's what I feel like right now, or like that's what I feel like I am. Melina, Irene called while taking my hand. Her hands were soft and gentle compared to my own. I could easily break them if I just squeezed. When I look into your eyes, I see someone who's lost, but there's also a hint of innocence. I believe in redemption, and so far your actions have good intentions. You could have ignored me, but instead you saved me when I was attacked, and when you suspected that you would have hurt either me or Raven, you asked to be restrained throughout the night. You want to be good. I can see that, she said while rubbing my hand with her thumb. I can't promise you that I won't be scared, but I'll be understanding. You're lost. You've lost your memories and have to deal with terrible side effects because of the marks. At the least I can do is support you to the best of my abilities, she said, raising her head to look at me in the eyes and showing me a sweet and gentle smile. You're too kind, I muttered. Really? My brothers tell me I'm just gullible and a pushover, she admits. Don't go around confessing that unless you want people to manipulate you, Raven interrupted. He was in the middle of pickpocketing the dead bodies, looting. Your blind kindness could be your doom, he said, reading the label. Is that spelled correctly? I'll figure that later. The label of a bottle he took. Luckily for you, I can be the bad influence you need. I'll teach you to be a little more selfish with a hint of sass. Thanks, Irene said, unsure. Raven then approached me while handing me a red bottle. It was a healing potion. Drink it, Raven said. I can heal her, Irene offered. You exhausted your healing capabilities. Next time, don't overdo it, Raven said, gently flicking her forehead. Now, let's go before more people try to ambush us, Raven said, walking away. Irene and I rushed to follow him, and she gave me a reassuring smile before facing forward. As we walked, I turned my attention to the potion then my injuries. My wounds aren't healing as quickly as when I first gained consciousness, so I'm guessing the fast healing was a one-time thing, because the ominous voice. It's still quicker in comparison to a regular person, so even if it isn't instant, it's still good, but I should still take the potion. I removed the cap and just stared. This is different from the other thing I consumed. How do I consume this? Do I also eat the bottle? Raven turned to look at me, and after noticing my confused face, he immediately looked annoyed. You gotta be kidding me. Give it here, Raven said, taking the bottle. My dogs. He pinched my cheeks to make my mouth open and slowly poured the liquid in my mouth. Oh no, I can hear one of my dogs whimpering. They're probably gonna start doing a lot of barking. Wait. Oh. I'm nervous. Hold up, I'm gonna check on them. Alright, I'm back. I trusted my dad to take care of them, and he's not even here. Alright. Depression. I already lost my spot. Where the frick am I? Turned to look at me, pinched my cheeks so my mouth would open, and slowly poured the liquid in my mouth. Irene seemed confused when Raven noticed, which Raven noticed. She doesn't like the taste, so if I don't do this, she wouldn't drink it, he lied. Ah, like a kid who refuses medicine, Irene said while raising a finger as if she was pointing at an imaginary light bulb. Exactly, Raven said, snapping his fingers while pointing at her. I wiped my mouth after Raven let go. Compared to the other things I've tried, it was bland, but at least I don't have to worry, at least I don't have to use my teeth to make it easy to swallow. We continued moving forward, and to distract myself from any frightening thoughts or ideas, I removed my gloves to prick the tips of my finger with my nail. I then squeezed it to let some blood out and focused on the drop. It rippled before spiking up, and after a few seconds passed, it re-entered my body and healed over. Such a strange ability, a risky one too. My blood needs to be outside my body in order for it to be used as a weapon, but the downside is facing blood loss. It's clearly a last resort type of power. If I'm losing a fight, I'll be able to get the upper hand as long as I bleed. Maybe this is why I don't experience the same feeling of pain as others do. Feeling nothing from my injuries makes using this power more easy. I'm learning more things about myself every day, but now I can't help but feel bad for Raven. He has to lie so much for me while also keeping track of the actual truth. What lies has he told so far? He said we've been traveling together for a while, and I killed many bad people, which explains the multiple marks on my skin. After developing so marks, I faced side effects such as memory loss and violent outbursts. The only technical truth in that is, because of my memory loss, I can't recall things such as how I gained my blood manipulation power, and why I have violent tendencies. Now, as long as we don't accidentally let the truth slip, keeping track of the lies shouldn't be that challenging. The only big lie we told is that Raven and I have been traveling together for a while, when in reality we only met 2 days ago. I don't know him personally, so if I have to prove our friendship, that would be difficult. I don't think I can lie as well as Raven can. When he makes up things about me, like disliking the taste of potions, I could easily play along, but just agreeing with him, but crafting my own lies require me to be creative. If I tried to lie, it would be obvious that I'm lying. Maybe this is why I don't like speaking. When you don't talk, you'll never have to worry about exposing your truths or creating a lie. Not speaking keeps you in a neutral stance. We're close to the village Gwen. Yeah, Gwen. We should stop by for supplies and shelter, Irene suggested while raising the map towards Raven and I. Good idea, he agreed. He raised his hood he raised her hood to hide her face, then checked if my gloves and sleeves were covering my skin. I'll do the talking. I don't want any attempts to I don't want anyone attempting to kidnap you for ransom money, he said while pointing at Irene. And I don't want anyone else freaking out about you having multiple marks, he continued while pointing at me. Understood? Yes, Irene said while playfully saluting as I nodded my head. Oh, Dad's home. Okay. We made our way towards Gwen Village, and despite the sun slowly approaching the horizon, there were many people still out. The population of the village seemed to mostly be made up of halflings and humans, but there are travelers who are different races. We went straight towards a tavern and we took a seat at a table. I don't think I'm allowed in here, Irene whispered while grabbing onto her hood to ensure it wouldn't fall back. Elves look young, just don't say your age and be calm, Raven said. A waitress approached our table and Raven ordered for the three of us, which the waitress happily wrote down on her notepad. And can you humor me by answering a few questions, Raven asked. Of course, sir, she said. Have you heard anything about people killing stains? Raven asked. Oh yes, there's a lot of fear building up around after people started developing those marks a few weeks ago. There are stains out there who are power hungry and going on a rampage just to gain a new mark, and there are people killing them before a stain gets too powerful. She explained while closing her eyes and tilting her head up as if she's recalling what she learned from others. It feels almost like war. People either envy or fear stains because of their power. That's a little weird sentence, but I'll fix that later. Personally, I'm just confused. My brother also has a mark, but he's a harmless and caring man. He doesn't deserve to be hunted down for something out of his control, she continued. Are individual people randomly hunting down stains, or is it a group? He asked. Probably both. Both, actually. There are a few monster hunters who added stains to their hit list, and newly found organizations with the goal of killing stains on sight. I actually served a hunter a while back, and when I asked for their reasonings, they told me they believe stains are a new evil in the world that should be erased before it becomes a big problem, she answered. Brutal, I muttered. Yes, I'm sure many innocent stains live in fear now. Actually, my friend owns a shop nearby, and it's running low on body paint because stains are hiding their marks to avoid getting attacked. To avoid getting attacked. Rough existence, honestly, she said. Water. Rough existence, honestly. I already lost my spot again. What the frick? Where am I? This is what I get for not paying attention. People are getting hunted down, she said. Oh, wait, no. People realize that... wait. Maybe stains are getting killed. Wait. No, wait. Where am I? Oh, no. I really actually did lost my... Oh, wait. Rough existence. There we go. Huh? Is this... this is the first time I've heard of this. Irene... Wait. Yeah, Irene said. Wait, I said the wrong voice. Anyways. It's still a similar voice. Okay. Don't blame you. For a while, people just assumed stains were killing each other off to gain more marks, but with a few witnesses here and there, people realize that they're just hunting down... that they're just being hunted down. Wait, what? That people realize that they were just being hunted down. Yeah, being hunted down, she said. The waitress, then... Hold up. Whew. The waitress then excused herself, and the three of us were silent for a few seconds. Talking for too long. I forgot how weird that is. Okay. Okay. We might need body paint, Raven said, adjusting the collar of his shirt to hide his neck. For at least our necks. I doubt we can cover you in paint every day, he said, looking at me. I wonder if my master knows about this, Irene questioned. Speaking of stains, Irene, exactly how powerful is Melina? I know she's a good fighter, and apart from the blood thing, I don't think I've seen anything that she's done that screams she's godly powerful because of her marks, unless you're holding back, Raven said, looking at me. I move without thinking, I admit. Actually, when someone uses their mark's power, it glows a deep shade of red and connects. I don't think I've seen your marks glow. I don't think I've seen your marks once glow. Words. And if I had to guess, someone with her number of marks should have similar strength to maybe a dragon, and your speed should be lightning fast, she explained. Huh, I muttered while looking at my gloved hands. That's all you have to say? If you have the power, use it next time, Raven groaned. I don't know how. I don't know how, I said. It should come naturally, Irene said. She reached into her coin purse and pulled out a gold coin. I have no strength. My strength only comes from my magic. But when I rely on the marks, she explains singular. As the mark on her neck filled the gap and glowed red. Suddenly, she bent the coin until it snapped. I can be as strong as a knight. Of course, breaking a coin isn't the best example I can give you, but it's all I got. Regardless, using your marks should be as easy as blinking, she continued as her mark stopped glowing and disconnected while reverting back to the color black. Back to black. No, yeah, that's fine. Reverting back to black. Raven pulled out a spare dagger he took from the men who attacked us and gripped it onto the handle. His mark, singular. His mark glowed and connected just like Irene's mark, and he managed to snap the blade. Oh, you're right, Raven said, surprised. And to force a new mark to appear on your skin, you just need to concentrate on the power you have and push its limit until a new one appears. But of course, I don't recommend it. It's dangerous and exhausting for the body, Irene continued. I rubbed my arm while looking at their snapped coin and blade. If it's that easy to use, I should give it a try, right? But there's an anxious feeling in my gut and a voice in my head telling me not to attempt it. If I do, I'll lose myself. I should only tap into that power if I intend to use it. If I intend to use it all. I should only tap into this power if I intend to slaughter. If I intend to slaughter everyone, it's the same thing. Hold on, wait. I'll just take away that sentence. That one's not needed. I should only tap into this power if I intend to slaughter everyone I see. I should only tap into this power. Oh, wait, what? Or if I'm willing to slip away, that will do. That will work. No. No. My voice cracked as I spoke. I grabbed my trembling hand as my eyes widened. Dangerous. Too dangerous. Melina? Irene called. Raven placed his hand on, why do I always mix up those two? Placed his hand on top of mine and tapped my shoulder with his other hand. It's alright, we understand, Raven said, now moving his hand from my shoulder to rub my back. Irene gently grabbed onto my arm and nodded. I closed my eyes and took in a deep breath. My hand stopped trembling and the anxious feeling faded. They're both so sweet. It's sickening. My body doesn't understand this gentleness. The slashes I've received from our attackers are more familiar than whatever kindness they're showing me. That's sad. I'm fine now, I said, pushing their hands away. Irene gave me a reassuring smile as Raven nodded. Once my personal space was returned to me, I rested my arms on the table and looked forward. I quietly observed everyone in the tavern and couldn't help but envy them. They seem so at ease, happy, at peace. Will I ever feel that way? Even if my memories were to return to me right now, would I even like the person who I used to be? Should I fear that person or embrace them when I regain my memories? Right now, I feel like a newborn. If my memories return, will I slip back to that person I used to be? What would happen to Irene and Raven if I do? I don't want to hurt them. Or do I? This battle in my head is frustrating. Enjoy, the waitress said while setting down all our dishes and drinks, or meals. I feel like I should probably switch it. Hold up. Dishes, meals. Meals makes more sense in my head for some reason. It's the same thing, I don't know. The waitress said while setting down all our meals and drinks that she somehow managed to carry on a platter. Irene happily grabbed the large sandwich and took a huge bite. Careful, you might choke, Raven said, holding back his laughter. She did look quite cute. She's small like a rabbit, but devouring the food like a wolf. I don't know what's more amusing, watching her eat or realizing there was a smaller option. Though maybe this is for the best. I took the small one and to eat myself. Compared to them, I don't need to eat to regain energy or to survive. Sleep is all I need, but I do enjoy the experience. Taste is what I believe is the sensation that I enjoy. Wait, who's paying? Irene asked. Our attackers, Raven said, grinning while raising a pouch of coins. They're dead. They don't need the money. He continued while putting the pouch away. We have nothing to our names, so looting is a must. Even if it's from a corpse. Even if it's from a corpse of an attacker. I don't care. I don't care to judge. And Irene is enjoying. It's her inner monologue. Why did I thought it was dialogue? Okay. Sorry. Even if it's from the corpse of our, we have nothing to our names, so looting is a must, even if it's from the corpse of an attacker. I don't care to judge, and Irene is enjoying her food, too much to question her morality, so we accepted it. At least he's still paying for this purchase. Once we finished our meals, Raven asked for directions to the nearest inn, and we made our way there. Irene yawned Irene yawned and was slow with her movements. She's clearly sleepy after that big meal. I offered her my arm to help support her, and she leaned on me while shutting her eyes and hugging my arm. She trusted me to lead her while her eyes are shut. I almost considered carrying her, but we were already in the inn, so I just waited for Raven to get us a room. When he got the key, I helped Irene to the room and put her on the bed. She immediately crawled towards the pillow and proceeded to hug it and began to softly snore. She makes me feel inferior. She's young and yet is smarter than me, Raven said, crossing his arms. She seems to study a lot, I said, eyeing her bag of books. She's an elf, so I guess intelligence should be expected. Doesn't make me feel any better, though, he said while sighing. He then proceeded to remove his armor and sat on the other bed to take off his boots. You don't plan on sleeping in your armor, right? He asked. I clenched my fist, staring at my gloves before eventually removing them. I'm only hesitating because I'll be exposing my marks. I'll need to find a long-sleeve shirt for next time. I stared at the mirror and frowned. Would you like to be restrained? That sounds kinky. Man, I didn't realize how sus some of this dialogue is. Okay. He asked, approaching me from behind. I nodded and he gently took my arms. I'm sure one day this won't be necessary. I hope, I whispered. Once he finished, he helped me towards the bed and I flopped down. He sat on the edge and rubbed the back of his neck. You don't mind that we share the bed? He asked, patting the bed while turning back to look at me. It's fine, I said. He smiled and turned off the lights blowing out the candle or whatever. This is like old times, so I guess blowing out the candle will make more sense. Hold on, wait. And blowing out the candle. Blowing out the how do you spell candle? I think that's how you spell it. Wait. Brick. That's how you spell it. And blew out the candle before crawling under the sheets. I doubt I'll actually fall asleep, so you can rest easily. So you can rest easy. I'll keep my eyes out if anything happens, he said. I nodded while slowly shutting my eyes. Will my dreams show me another memory? Not tonight. For once, I sleep more comfortably. Part 4. Ooh, I think this is gonna be like the last part. If my memory's correct. I could be wrong. Well, not the last part I'm reading. There's like there's like close to 200 pages. I'm obviously not gonna read all of them. So I'm probably gonna stop by the end of this one. Okay. Irene and I stood outside the shop as Raven went in to buy a few items. While waiting, I adjust my gloves, making sure they're secure as Irene raised her hands. She flicked her fingers a few times, which caused sparkles. I watched, trying to figure out what she was doing, but my knowledge on magic is lacking. I guess she sensed my gaze and turned to me with a smile. Do you feel it? She asked. I hummed. She turned her hands to me and flicked her fingers in front of my face. I could feel a gentle wind, and my hair was pushed out of my face. Wind? Yes, I usually focus on defense and healing spells, but I want to try learning more attack spells, she explained. So, wind, I questioned while raising an eyebrow. To push away my enemies with a strong force. Whoa. Those dogs, whoa. Jump scare. If I master this enough, my wind could even cut like blades. I feel like I have to check on them. Give me a moment. I'm sorry again. This is a hectic afternoon, okay. Where was I? Oh, so wind, I questioned while raising an eyebrow. To push away my attackers with a strong force. If I master this enough, my wind could even cut like blades, Irene said with a surprisingly menacing smile. I couldn't help but smile for a moment when I saw her passion, but I then faced forward and returned my face to a neutral stance. It's nice that she now wants to learn how to defend herself. There's so much shields can do before they break. I wonder if she always planned on advancing her skills, or after meeting Raven and I and facing attackers is what pushed her into wanting to learn. That sentence sounded so awkward to me, but it will work for now. Okay. Whatever it might be, I wish her the best. We're there. If we find ourselves in a battle against each other, I hope she could end me before I could end her. Even though a part of me wishes to see her blood, I find myself enjoying her character. She deserves to live long, and I could already see that that she'll grow up to be a capable woman who could benefit the world. So hopefully I don't try to attack her again. All right, let's go, Raven said, stepping outside the shop. We left the village and entered the woods. What? Remaining on the dirt path, but stopped once we were out of sight from carriages and other travelers. Raven pulled out body paint, then he managed to find in the shop and began to paint Irene's neck. It's a good thing that we're all so pale. I don't have to waste any more coin on buying different shades of skin tones, Raven said. It tickles, Irene giggled. Hold still, Raven said, firmly holding the paintbrush. Man, my brain, okay. Water. Though if we tan during our travels, we might need to switch to scarves, he continued, taking Irene's hand to make her fan the paint dry. Irene instead used her spell to blow wind on herself as Raven approached me to start painting my own neck. Maybe for you, as a long-sleeved turtleneck would do you some good. Won't it be too warm? Irene asked. It's fine, I said. I started to fan my neck as Raven pulled out a mirror to paint his own. Once we finished, we continued moving. I turned towards I stared forward as Irene was snacking on a treat that Raven got us while he sharpened his daggers. Yeah, sure. He gave me a book to read so I could have something to pass the time with, but I want to be alert. When Raven was pickpocketing the men who attacked us, it turns out they had invisibility potions. Finding a potion shop isn't difficult. There could be more attackers even if our marks are covered. I'll protect them. Despite how hard my mind fights against this thought, I'll protect them until we part ways. Are you a couple? Irene asked, causing Raven to flinch and for me to pause in place. I don't want to assume. I don't want to assume. Wait, no, yeah, where am I? Never mind, I'm lost. Okay, I don't want to assume, but I'm just curious. When a man and a woman are traveling together, you'd think they would fall in love, she continued. No. She's a friend, and I'm not interested in love. She watches my back and I watch hers. That's all our relationship entails, he said, putting his dagger away. So not once did you two find yourselves in a romantic situation with each other? Irene asked. I called him beautiful. Technically his eyes, I answered. Irene happily gasped while Raven rolled his eyes. Just to lower my guard. Our first meeting wasn't exactly normal, and I doubt she meant it, Raven said. I do, I said. Conversation over. Raven picked up his speed and his eyebrows furrowed as he stomped forward. Irene giggled. There must be something going on, Irene whispered while grabbing onto my arm. No, love is unfamiliar for me, I answered. Irene pouted and slouched as we walked. I believe she was hoping to hear a love story. Maybe I should give her the book. I carry if she wants that type of entertainment so badly. However, that does raise the question: have I ever felt love? When I don't feel neutral nothingness, I experience worry or rage more often than any other emotions. But with their company, I do feel something pleasant, a warm feeling. I wouldn't say it's love, but my violent thoughts do taint my feelings. But whatever it is, my violent thoughts do taint my feelings, but whatever it is, I find myself doing unfamiliar things because of it. From smiling to easing my hand's grip, I'm not doing a fist. Usually the muscles in my face to smile is unused, and my hands want to remain as fists, but slowly started to relax over time. I like these two. I hope it's solely innocent rather than how a predator feels about their prey. Do you three require assistance? A man with 2 donkeys pulling a wagon called. For a little coin, I can give you a ride. Sure, it's faster than walking, Raven said, pulling out his pouch. I helped Irene onto the wagon as Raven paid the man. Once we were all secured with our belongings, the journey continued. Irene rested on the hay to take a nap while Raven held the map and compass to make sure we didn't go off course. I couldn't help but notice how irritated he looked. He noticed me staring. So I'm gonna fix that right now, actually, because I'm probably gonna forget this one little thing. He noticed me staring and turned to me. What? You alright? I asked. Perfectly, he said, forcing a grin. What Irene said, did it irritate you? I asked. He sighed while turning back to the map. It's just that question provokes a reaction out of me. In the past, I was forced to respond with a yes. He said. Forced? I asked. I don't want to talk about it, he said. I nodded while returning my head to watch the ground. I wonder what he meant when he said he was forced. If I remember correctly, he mentioned a mistress who he couldn't say no to, and he talked about wanting revenge. I wonder if this correlates. I shouldn't speculate. If I try to guess his past, he might be mad. He might get mad. I'll just forget it. If he wants to open up, I'll listen to him, but I won't pry until he does. I kicked my dangling feet for the majority of the ride, watching the road. Watching the ground was oddly hypnotizing, and the wind on my skin was pleasant. For the most part, everything was calm until I felt the hair in the back of my neck rise, whatever. I stood up and turned my attention to the front of the wagon, scanning the surroundings. I didn't realize how thick the woods are getting. Got around us? Whatever. Despite the sun still being in the sky, everything looks dark. Something isn't right. I stepped forward. Careful, you'll fall, Raven said, holding onto my waist. Irene slowly sat up while rubbing her eyes and looked up at me. Bow, I whispered. What? Raven asked. Give it, I demanded. He hesitated, but eventually handed it to me. I approached the man controlling the wagon and whispered in his ear. We're not safe. Stop the wagon and duck down. Pardon me? He asked. If you don't want to be caught in the line of fire, listen, I ordered. The man stopped the wagon and ducked down while Irene and Raven moved closer to me. What's wrong? Irene asked. Prepare yourselves, I said, scanning my surroundings. Irene ducked into the hay as Raven looked around with me. After a few seconds, I felt Raven pulling my shirt. I looked at him and he pointed with his eyes towards the tree line. I suddenly looked at the area until I spotted a tip of an arrow. I focused until I managed to catch a glimpse of an attacker, a goblin. Ready? I whispered to my companions. I guess, Irene said, raising her hands close to her chest. Raven nodded while grabbing onto his daggers. I took a deep breath before swiftly raising the bow and shot the goblin. Their corpse fell, and this triggered other arrows to fly towards us and other goblins to jump out with hammers or axes. Oh my gosh, they're getting attacked again. What a dangerous road they're on. Sorry. The wagon owner yelped and ducked under the wagon where the arrows wouldn't hit him. Kill them all, one of the goblins yelled. I shot at the goblin charging at us while Raven stabbed and kicked off the ones who got too close to the wagon. Irene screamed while she's like, "Ow! Now I'm getting attacked with the frick." Okay. Irene screamed while creating a shield that pushes forward and knocks out the goblin attempting to hit her. I always hated goblins, Raven complained while elbowing a goblin in the nose and stabbing them in the shoulder before kicking them off the wagon. I wonder where the arrows were being fired. Wait, I watched where the arrows were being fired from and shot in the direction where they were coming from. When the arrows stopped coming, I moved on to the next. Irene noticed how close the arrows were getting towards the donkeys and jumped towards them to create shields. Her shields maxed to the size of doors, and she could only make 2 that she can control with both hands. They were slightly translucent and golden, and they were floating where Irene's hands were pointing. Are you doing all right, sir? Irene asked. The man under the wagon stuck out a trembling thumbs up and thanked her for protecting his donkeys. I aimed my arrow towards the trees, but when I noticed a goblin ready to jump and backstab a raven, I changed my targets and fired. Raven noticed and kicked the body off the wagon. His eyes were full of rage, and he took a moment to breathe before turning to me. When we faced each other, his expression softened, and he thanked me before proceeding to attack. Eventually, the arrows coming from the trees stopped, so I dropped the bow to switch to a blade. I jumped off the wagon and dashed towards 4 goblins, slashing each of their throats as I passed one to move on to the next. Eventually, everything calmed down and only 1 goblin remained. They tried to run until a glowing symbol appeared under their feet, and they froze in place. I did it! Irene cheered, her hand pointing towards the goblin. The same symbol under the goblin's feet matched the symbol on her palm. We approached the goblin, and they were noticeably sweating. Our marks are covered, so I doubt they attacked because of that, Raven said, crossing his arms. Maybe they wanted to rob us? Irene asked, or guessed. Your stains, the goblin managed to mutter. We each gave each other a look before Raven walked to stand in front of the goblin. What of it? Raven asked. The goblin chuckled. We should be on the same team. We're stronger together, the goblin said. That's when we noticed this goblin had a mark on their neck. What do you mean? Irene asked, ready to tap into her own marking's power if the goblin managed to break free from her hold. Other stains are getting together. Rather than killing each other to raise our body count, we're partnering up to use our combined power to destroy villages and eventually cities, the goblin said. What? Irene gasped. We're special, superior, unlike the unmarked. The stains will rise and rule the world, the goblin said, chuckling. I felt an itch in my hand from that was gripping tightly onto my blade. My focus was fixed on their mark. I want to kill them. My vision is blurry and my hearing is becoming muffled. Instead of resisting, I gave in and stabbed the goblin's skull. When I did, my vision and hearing returned back to normal. That was so relieving. Is it over? The man asked, crawling out from under the wagon. Poor dude. Okay. Seems so, Raven said, brushing back his hair while putting his blade away. Irene ran to the man and started to heal his bruised elbow and knees. I guess it was a good thing that we crossed paths. If I continued alone, I would have hated to imagine what would happen to me, the man said, removing his hat to press against his chest as he looked at the corpses around him. A thanks is in order. Let me return your money. No need. Those goblins have plenty of coin for the taking, Raven said, pickpocketing the corpses. Raven, I swear. Okay. I still want to repay you all for saving my life. How about this? Allow me to take you to my home. I'll provide you shelter and food for as long as you need. Please accept it. I must repay you, he offered. Oh, that sounds lovely. How about it? That voice. Ugh. I'm doing voices terribly nowadays. Always, actually. Irene, how do I do that voice? Oh, that sounds lovely. Ugh. Oh, that sounds lovely. How about it? Irene asked. Her voice is so inconsistent, man. Why am I trying? Okay. Irene asked while returning to me. I looked at Raven, but he was busy still looting the bodies. I guess I should answer for us. We accept, I said, hesitating a bit. The man whose name we now know is Lewis took us to his home after Raven finished searching the bodies. It was a lovely and large farm, and waiting on the porch of the house was a woman and 2 young kids. It's his wife and kids. His skin is red and her skin is red and she has short black horns. She must be a tiefling. By the way, if it wasn't obvious, this story is heavily inspired by D&D stuff. But I don't know the rules, so I kind of just made up as I went along. Anyways, her kids hugged her legs and she looked at us skeptically. I don't blame her. Raven and I are stained in blood. We don't exactly look friendly. Lewis introduced us and explained what happened, which made his wife, Martha, hug us in appreciation for saving her husband. She then ran inside to prepare more food, and Lewis showed us the spare room. There was only one spare room, but it was still, appreciated. Here you go. The two young daughters gave us spare clothes to change into. Thank you, Irene said, taking the clothes. I'm assuming these are Martha's spare clothes for for Irene and I to change into. As for Raven, I'm guessing it's Lewis's spare clothes. It's a little big, Raven said, picking up the shirt. Maybe you're just too thin, Irene said, poking aside. Raven flinched, then rubbed his side when Irene ran to change in the walk-in closet. He rolled his eyes before he started to change. Luckily for me, I was given a button up with long sleeves, so my markings are well covered. As I was getting ready to change, I noticed the scars on Raven's back again. He didn't seem to shy away from people seeing his bare back and past injuries, but there's a hint of pain in his eyes when he looked at himself in the mirror. I turned away to respect his privacy and changed out of my armor. Raven has a black shirt, while Irene is in a white sundress with yellow flowers. We took a moment to relax after changing until eventually the kids knocked on our door, telling us dinner was ready. We all sat at the large table, and Martha used the opportunity to continue thanking us for saving her husband. He's just a human. Yeah, he's just a human and never learned magic or fighting skills, so she can't help but worry for him when he goes out on business. Irene and Raven did most of the talking as I just slowly ate my food. Such an interesting dish. These vegetables and meats submerged in a broth that tastes quite lovely. I don't know anything about food, so she's like, wow, amazing. Are you an elf? The youngest daughter asked. Irene nodded with a gentle smile. Mama, she's so pretty, the girl continued. Irene seemed flustered, but thanked the girl. You have lovely horns, Irene said. The girl blushed happily. The other daughter asked about her horns, and Irene complimented hers too, which she was extremely happy about. So where are you heading? Martha asked. Sulite, Raven answered. What a long journey. Let me prepare you meals before you go. Martha offered. Thank you, we would appreciate it, Irene said. I looked at the little girl who was playing with her food and noticed she had a mark on her neck. Martha noticed my stare, same difference, okay, and patted her kid's head. My daughter's a good girl. I don't understand why she has a mark. Don't let this scare you, Martha said. It's all right, look, Raven said, smudging the paint on his neck to reveal his mark. I recommend that you hide her mark too. We learned that people are killing stains on sight. Really? Thanks for telling us, Martha said, hugging her daughter protectively. As they spoke, I had a tight grip on my spoon. I'm starting to feel dizzy. Excuse me, I need air, I said, leaving the table to step outside. Once I stepped out onto the porch and shut the door, I grabbed onto the railing and slouched while trying to control my breathing. I don't think I'll lose myself, but I don't feel well either. Killing those goblins eased my urges, but a part of me still craves for more. I looked up, counting the stars that are starting to appear in the sky in hopes to distract myself. Hey, Raven said, approaching my side and resting his arm on the railing. Should I be worried? I'm fine, I mumbled. Alright, I'll take your word for it, Raven said. Those dogs are about to pick a fight with someone, I swear. Okay. Okay. He patted my back and I closed my eyes as I continued to control my breathing. You can return to eating, I said. I believe my eyes are bigger than my stomach, he said, shrugging while turning so his back was now leaning on the railing. Besides, I prefer your company. You like dangerous company, I said, which made him chuckle. Let's go to the room. It's cold, he said, taking my arm. We went to the bedroom and he tied my arms before placing me on the bed. I'll go check on Irene. Rest up, he said while closing the door behind him. I looked at the ceiling for a few seconds before closing my eyes, preparing to drift off to sleep. It was dark just for a moment till I saw a young man reading a book appearing in my vision. He looked like my brother, but in his teenage years. He sat down and by the way, Dreamworld, I really feel like I have to figure out a good way of making that transition. He sat down and as he did, a young woman happily walked in and leaned on his chair. She looked like my sister, but teenager now as well. I slowly followed close behind her and am similar age to them. We each have marks on our necks, wrists, and wrists, maybe elsewhere under our clothes, but I'm not too sure. Why did I? Oh, why did? I feel like that should be do. Why do I doubt? Why did I? No, that works. Why did I doubt it? Okay, I think no. Yeah, that works still. Why did I doubt you? Sister giggled. What do you mean? Brother asked. Father finally told us to leave the temple with with the task of killing hundreds. To show proof of our work, we get marks that appear on our bodies, but that gives us more power as a reward. Simple, right? Yet for the past year, you only had the one for so long, while Melina and I were determined to get ones. Wait, what? To get the ones that we have now. The only one you have is the one that Father unlocked in the only one you had. The only one you had is the one Father unlocked, and that was free, Sister said. Where are you going with this? Brother asked. I started to believe my brother that I once admired was getting left behind. You started to really disappoint me until suddenly, bang! Man, reading these dialogues for these characters is so awkward for me. I don't know why. It's probably because I fail at reading. Okay. Sister yelled while shaking his chair. Turns out you were playing the long game. You toyed with so many hearts and made so many women and men obsessed with you. So much so that they would kill others or themselves with just the snap of your fingers, she said. Are you judging my methods? He asked, shutting his book. Oh no, I'm just happy to see that you're finally making moves. When I saw that suddenly overnight you had more marks than Melina and I was stunned. Only after stalking you and asking the master questions is when I figured out how you've got so many marks. Out of the blue, she said, shaking his shoulders. It's a lot that you're doing. Doesn't it get exhausting? I asked. I'm proficient in manipulation and flattery. Those pathetic excuses of sentient creatures are easy to control, he said, pushing away our sister's hand from his shoulder. I already have multiple cults. Ooh. I already have multiple cults, but I will admit it can be a handful to supervise them all. So when one of the cults start to bore me, I have them ruin a village and then each other. Whoever is the last one standing, I'll keep as a loyal pet. I prefer doing the slaughtering myself, but you still reap the benefits from those deaths, so continue as you please, Sister said, shrugging. I'm confused. I thought the master said we have to cause the deaths, I said. Sister, don't you know influencing others to kill for you is just as effective as doing it with your own hands? I guess the master forgot to mention this to you. If you wish to learn, I can teach you with my manipulation. I can teach you my manipulation skills. He offered. I nodded my head, and he, for once, smiled. She's doing well regardless. Without raising suspicion, she murdered an entire village in one night. Such a stealthy killer, Sister said, hugging me. I'm aware. She at least thinks more tactically, unlike you, Brother said. Oh, planning is boring, and it's honestly so much more fun watching a village plunge into despair. I killed a family one night and watched the village grow paranoid. I killed another family the next and watched the villagers point fingers. A few executions here and there, and a rage continues to build as I start to kill one person from each household. I continued picking off one member of each household until one person in the house remains and watched happily as the survivors ripped each other apart. Whatever is left standing, I'll have the satisfaction of bathing in their blood, she explained. The most sadistic sibling in existence. Okay. Oh no, wait, 5 is the last one I have to get to. Okay. Don't most people leave the village after the murders start? Brother asked. I'll catch them eventually, she said, grinning. And when I do, their deaths will be beautiful. I'll use their blood to paint a picture on the ground of where their corpses are. Reading that sentence, I can't do it. Okay. Should I be doing more? I asked. Aw, you're so cute, Sister said, pulling me into a tight hug. You're doing enough. You don't have to copy our methods if you already like what you're doing, brother said, standing up and patting my shoulder. I nodded, accepting not having to change my methods. Suddenly we vanished, and I opened my eyes to find myself still in bed. I turned my head and saw Irene sleeping next to me. As for Raven, I saw him looking outside the window. It's still late outside. I have time to rest a bit longer, so I closed my eyes. I don't know if I should tell Raven about this memory, but I should be honest with him. I'll figure this out when the sun is up. Okay. 5, and then I'm done, I think. Again, there's like 166 pages, but I'm not gonna get to all of them. Okay. After saying our goodbyes to the family, we continued on with our journey. Martha and Lewis were kind enough to give us large bags to carry our items, and even gave us packed lunches for our travels. As for the little girls, they gave us a slingshot because they also wanted to repay us for saving her father for their father. Irene took it because she would benefit from a ranged weapon and her spells if her magic ever fails. Sweet family, Irene said, swaying as she walked while looking at her slingshot. Water break again. Alright. Yeah, but I can't help but feel bad for them. When those girls grow up and decide to explore the world, they're going to face a lot of discrimination, Raven said. Because they look like devils? I asked. Irene patted my arm with a nervous smile. Don't say that, Irene said. I nodded, taking a note to never make that comparison again. She's not wrong. There's a lot of judgy people out in the world who would hate them because of their appearances. Maybe that's why they live in a lonely farm away from any village, Raven said. But people nowadays are more accepting. I'm sure once they're of age, they'll leave their home. They'll come across I'm sure once they're of age and leave their home, they'll come across many people who look past their horns and tail. Irene argued. We can only hope, Raven said. I nodded while facing forward. I have a basic understanding of races in the world. I know every race faces some type of discrimination. Sorry, that was a better yawn. Okay. And it's usually those whose origins connect to an evil from history, or if their race is seen as evil aligned. But even those who are mixed races can face discrimination as well. I don't exactly understand this. We're all living and sentient creatures that will all die one day, either from age or murder. What's the point of disliking someone for something out of their control? No one gets to choose. No one gets a choice of their race at birth. If the person wronged you, or if they are known to cause harm, then it's understandable to have a bit of a disdain. But hating a potentially kind person because of their origins and never giving them a chance is idiotic. Then again, if a goblin appears in front of me, I might judge them too quickly. I'm not any better. But at least I can say that my blade doesn't discriminate. I'm a monster. Shit! A man swore from a distance. Raven looked at me and I just shrugged. I know I sensed danger before, but I don't sense any here. Seeing how calm I appeared, Raven continued and... Wait, I feel like I could say that a little better. Wait. Raven looked at me and I just shrugged. I know I sensed danger before, but I don't sense any here. Seeing how calm I appeared, Raven continued and approached the fork in the road. He peeked towards the source of the noise, and there was a man with the head of a dragon. Half of the scales on his face is black, while the other half is white, and his eyes were a bright yellow. He looked noticeably irritated, and as we looked closer, we realized he had marks on his neck that were the opposite color of his scales. He's also a stain. Behind his scarf, I just managed to catch the marks on his neck. I feel like that could have swapped that around. It's fine. Unexpectedly, he also had a second mark on his right wrist. He must be familiar with death. Whoa! Irene gasped as stars appeared in her eyes. Raven pulled her back while running forward. I think to grab her. He ran forward to grab her, I think. That's what I meant to write. He has such beautiful scales, Irene said. We don't know if he's dangerous. Quiet, Raven whispered. I walked past the two to approach the Dragonborn. Raven slapped his face, irritated by my actions. I have my reasons for approaching the stranger. We can't determine if he's good from afar, so I'll risk getting attacked if it turns out he is dangerous. Hello, I said, waving. The man huffed before turning to me while crossing his arms. He's not attacking? That's good. Are you alright? What do you think? He snarled. I scanned our surroundings and noticed a guitar with all its strings broken. What happened? I asked, pointing at it. He sighed while raising his hand to cover his eyes. I seem to be having a hard time controlling my strength, he admitted. Or maybe his claws are just too sharp. You're a bard? Irene gasped while running over. Raven was right behind her and managed to catch her by grabbing onto her shoulders to keep her in place. Hello, I'm Irene. Ellis greeted, staring at her with a blank expression. He's dressed more like a sorcerer or wizard rather than a bard, but who knows, maybe he plays as a pastime, or he is one. You're a Stain? I asked, pointing at his neck and wrist. He pulled down his sleeve. It's not what you think. I fought for my family, and my enemies' deaths translate to receiving another mark. Ellis explained. Irene jumped out of Raven's hold while pulling out her notepad. Have you experienced any strange side effects because of these marks? Irene asked. Ellis paused for a moment before nodding his head. I get angry more easily, and I find it difficult to be gentle. I never had this issue before, Ellis confessed as he stared at his claws. Irene nodded while writing. I was hoping to find a way to rid myself of these marks. It may be useful in battle, but it's hard to face my family like this. I don't want to scare or harm my loved ones. Do you have any knowledge on this? Not yet, but my teacher is looking into it, Irene answered. So it's possible? Ellis asked. As he spoke, his expression lit up with hope. No clue, Irene said. The light that briefly appeared in his eyes faded and he slouched down, clearly disappointed. We're on our way to who's saying? Yeah, we're on our way to Sulite to meet my teacher. You can tag along if you want, she offered. Raven jerked his head towards her and squinted his eyes. Come on, he looks strong. We can use the extra manpower. If I could get answers, please let me join. I'm proficient in acid and ice spells, and I'm strong even without magic, Ellis said, raising his fists while suddenly getting coated with ice. He also carried a spear, so he's clearly skilled with more than just his fists and magic. See, we need more magic in this team, Irene said, putting her hands on her hips as she turned to Raven. He squinted at her before responding. I know magic, and she can literally use her blood as a weapon, Raven argued while gesturing his hands towards me. Eventually he sighed while bending down to whisper in her ear. Be honest, you want him to join because you think he's cool, he whispered. Irene said, embarrassed while avoiding his eyes. Because I agree, Raven said, stepping away to approach Ellis with opened arms. Fine. For the sake of survival, you can join us, Ellis. I'm Raven, he said, reaching his hand out towards Ellis. Thank you, it's a pleasure, Ellis said, shaking Raven's hand. I'm Melina, I said, while, waving again. Ellis nodded and returned the wave. Now that we're acquainted, let's continue. And by continue, I'm probably gonna stop. Here's all of them together. I was lazy while drawing this. Don't judge me. So yeah, I'm not gonna continue. Because my voice is already giving out. Look, sometimes no amount of water can help you when you're reading too much. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. This story is, in all honesty, it's very long. I will probably, if I remember, or if I have the time to, I probably will continue. But, not now, because we all need our breaks. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I better not catch you dying on me. Make sure to eat a dinner, breakfast, lunch, whatever you're eating. Make sure to eat, drink plenty of water, and yeah. See you later. Woo!